This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Joe. I finished my A-levels in 2019 and was sort of looking for a job sort of since then, uptown, sort of in the financial industry. But obviously due to COVID, that was pretty hard work, to be honest. So yeah, I kind of worked through COVID at John Lewis and at Waitrose, which kind of kept me going, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, I then, once COVID started to calm down a bit, I was kind of looking into different apprenticeships and things like that, and found myself here at McGill. So.
Okay, and what made you decide you wanted to do an apprenticeship?
My brother went to uni before, and this was quite a while ago. But I think there's just so many opportunities now to sort of earn and learn on the same job. So I think to me it was best of both worlds. It was sort of getting the experience of working within a team and sort of doing the job that you'd want to be doing, while also getting the qualifications out of it as well. So I thought that sort of made a lot more sense for me to sort of do and kind of get my foot in the door somewhere, rather than go to uni and then start that process. So yeah.
And what apprenticeship is it you're doing?
I'm doing an insurance practitioner, level 3 apprenticeship.
Okay, what made you want to get into insurance?
So I was kind of looking at finance as a whole for quite a while, because I'd always quite enjoyed like my maths and my numbers and things like that. But insurance kind of stood out to me as quite a social industry. So I think a lot of the job that I do personally as a broker as well is sort of face-to-face meeting with clients, meeting with underwriters and things like that. And it's a lot of socialising, which I kind of enjoyed through my retail years.
Yeah.
And I can carry that through, and then I can also mix that with the numerical side of it as well. So I thought it was sort of the perfect balance that would suit me, really. So
yeah, and how would you say the brokerage kind of supported you getting your apprenticeship?
very much so. I've been looking for jobs for a long time, through various sort of recruiters and just sort of being on LinkedIn and things like that. But as soon as I sort of signed up to the brokerage, we had loads of different opportunities come up, like weekly emails on different webinars and stuff to join. And I think the most important thing is when actually applying to the jobs, you're very helpful with proofreading sort of the application forms that we send off, and just kind of doing little workshops on how to really write a CV and how to write a cover letter. Just little things like that you sort of wouldn't think you really need that much help on, but it makes the world of difference. And I think that sort of is the reason why I'm in this job now. So yeah.
Okay then, and how does, I guess your days must look different from being in the office to being at home. What's the difference? So what does like your day-to-day kind of look like?
Yeah, so if I'm at home, it's kind of a chance to sort of look through a lot more of like the background stuff. So putting together slips in my example of insurance. It's also quite a good chance as well, I've found, to sort of crack on with some apprenticeship work and things like that, get a bit of that knowledge in. But in a typical day in the office, I'll probably say have a few meetings a day, either with clients or with underwriters, to discuss different insurance deals. My team tends to have quite a few meetings in office as well, which is always nice. And it's a good mixture between sort of being at your desk and getting on with bits that you need to do, put together like the admin side of things, if you will. And then a lot of it is you tend to go out and sort of into Lloyd's, the marketplace, or go and meet underwriters in their office and things like that. So you kind of get out as well, which is nice, I find. So
yeah, I guess it must be a bit difficult as well, because like you said, you worked in retail before. Obviously going into an office job is really different. It does take some getting used to.
Yeah, I've never kind of worked in an office before, so yeah, it was a bit of an adjustment. But I think that like I say, yeah, it's quite nice to sort of go into a place where it's quite social. You kind of go out with your team quite a lot and things like that. So
yeah. So what would you say is the most like challenging part of your apprenticeship?
I think so far is probably just trying to work out the balance between obviously getting the amount of work that you do with your team and then sort of getting the knowledge in as well with your apprenticeship, because it's quite a lot of work. It's hard to sort of balance when you've got sort of exams coming up and things like that. You need to make sure you set yourself some time, because I think when you start a job, you kind of want to make a good impression there and do as much work and stuff like that. But I think you've also got to make sure that you don't burn yourself out, and also make sure you give enough time to sort of have a look at the apprenticeship side of things, and it's really important to sort of find that balance. It's once you've got a system going, I think it's really good. But I think like when you first start, that's something that just needs to give it a few months or so. You'll sort of get used to it. But
yeah, so you said about exams. So when you're doing your apprenticeship work, did you get graded on your exams?
yeah, so mine's we have sort of 3 multiple choice exams. Sort of they are staggered throughout the year. So my first one will be the start of March, I believe, and then I have one in June and possibly one in about September, I think. But then I've also got sort of like coursework to do as well alongside that, which is sort of just showing how you've shown these skills throughout your apprenticeship. It's sort of like a professional conversation, I believe. So
Yeah. Do you have that kind of, I guess, like a timetable to kind of even out your time between doing your apprenticeship work and then actual on the job work?
Yeah, I think when I sort of first started, it was kind of known to me and like my team as well, so they know that I'm meant to have sort of 1 day a week looking at my apprenticeship. And I think at the moment I'm having lessons about for half a day every week, and then I'm just given sort of Friday afternoon or whatever sort of half day to go through little bits and bobs to get through that. So yeah, the company's been really good with that, to be fair, is making sure that I've had enough time to do the apprenticeship side of things as well. So yeah.
Yeah. How would you say you're contributing to your organisation?
A lot more than I sort of thought I would be, to be honest. I've been, especially since the new year, we've kind of had our business plans for the year, and I've been kind of thrown in to do the renewals. So they're sort of the easy way of it's a nice way to start, because obviously all the renewal stuff, you've kind of got the information from last year, and it's just a matter of kind of tinkering little bits and bobs. But obviously there's quite a lot of work there to be done. So I've been helping out a lot with that, and then also a lot of the background stuff, so putting together the slips and the technical side of things, which helps you when you are sort of going out to the market and things like that. It's a good mix I've been exposed to, I think, a mixture of broking as well as the technical admin side of things. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, when I first started my apprenticeship, I was hearing kind of terminology they was using, and I was thinking, I'm never going to understand what they are, like what they're talking about. Was it the same for you, or did you kind of already have
Yeah,
an
definitely
idea
is.
of when you was going into your apprenticeship?
No, well, there's so many like abbreviations and things like that that I'm just kind of sit in meetings and think I don't know what they're even on about. Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those things where, like you say, at the time you sort of think, oh Jesus, this is going to be really hard, and it is for the first few months when you're sort of not really sure what things mean. But I think as long as you sort of ask questions, it all just comes with time, doesn't it? So I'm sure you would have found it the same with yours. So
Yeah, I feel like you start finding yourself using like the abbreviations. You're like, oh,
yeah,
how
without
did I
even
learn that?
noticing, yeah, you surprise
Yeah.
yourself a bit. So
Yeah, exactly. And last one is, what tips would you give to anyone considering doing an apprenticeship?
do it, yeah, do it, go for it. I think kind of take your time and don't rush into anything, because it's quite a big thing that you're going to want to go and do, because obviously it's the start of your future career. But yeah, I'd say just make sure you sort of give yourself enough time to look at the apprenticeship side of things as well. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend it. It's very, very good route to go down. So
Yeah, and I think, I don't know about you, but I see some of my friends like still going to like college and places like that, and I kind of um like I look at differences between what I'm doing and what they're doing, and it's kind of like a bit of a no-brainer. Like I'm happy with
yeah,
the kind of apprenticeship route. Is it the same for you, or do you kind of ever look at your friends, and I guess they have a little bit more spare time? Do you ever look at them and think like,
yeah.
oh, I kind of wish?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at, like, say, some of my mates at uni, obviously have quite a bit of spare time because you still have sort of the holidays and things like that. But I was quite done with the whole education side, in terms of you're learning about like things that you aren't really going to use for your future job. Like, I didn't really see the use in that, so I'd rather sort of put my time towards learning about something that I'm quite passionate about and want to do well in. And I think an apprenticeship's pretty ideal for something like that, when you can sort of learn on the job as well. And learning on the job makes it a lot easier with your exams and things like that as well, because it's all related. So it makes you a bit more motivated, me personally, to sort of get that done. So yeah, no, I agree.
Great, thank you.